Act 2, Scene 2 of The Merchant of Venice, translating into modern English for you, and everything I go through comes from Mr. Bruff's Guide to The Merchant of Venice, available for £3.99 at mrbruff.com. So, Venice, a street, enter Launcelot. Certainly my conscience will serve me to run from this Jew my master. The fiend is at mine elbow and tempts me, saying to me, Gobbo, Launcelot, Gobbo, good Launcelot, or good Gobbo, or good Launcelot, Gobbo, use your legs, take the start, run away. My conscience says, no, take heed, honest Launcelot, take heed, honest Gobbo, or, aforesaid, honest Launcelot, Gobbo, do not run, scorn running with thy heels. Well, the most courageous fiend bids me pack. Via, says the fiend, away, says the fiend, for the heavens rouse up a brave mind, says the fiend, and run. Well, my conscience, hanging about the neck of my heart, says very wise to me, my honest friend Launcelot, being an honest man's son, or rather an honest woman's son, for indeed my father did something smack, something grow to, he had a kind of taste. Well, my conscience, says Launcelot, budge not. Budge, says the fiend. Budge not, says my conscience. Conscience, say I, you counsel well. Fiend, say I, you counsel well. To be ruled by my conscience, I should stay with the Jew my master, who, God bless the mark, is a kind of devil. And to run away from the Jew, I should be ruled by the fiend, who, saving your reverence, is the devil himself. Certainly the Jew is the very devil incarnate. Incarnal, and in my conscience is but a kind of hard conscience to offer to counsel me to stay with the Jew. The fiend gives the more friendly counsel. I will run, fiend, my heels are at your command, I will run. Now, obviously a ridiculous comic scene, which Shakespeare likes to intersperse into text when things are quite serious. So what's Launcelot saying? Well, surely my conscience will allow me to run away from my master, the Jew. The devil is at my elbow tempting me, saying to me, Gobbo, use your legs, get going and run away. But my conscience says, no, listen, do not run away, refuse outright to run off. Well, the most courageous devil is ordering me to go. Off with you, says the devil. Get going, says the devil. For heaven's sake, gather all your courage, says the devil, and run away. Well, my conscience weighing me down says wisely to me, my honest friend Launcelot, you're an honest man's son, or rather an honest woman's son, because my father did have a tendency, was drawn towards, did have a weakness for women. Well, my conscience, says Launcelot, don't budge. Run away, says the devil. Stay put, says my conscience. Conscience, I say, your advice is good. Devil, I say, your advice is good. If I let my conscience decide, I would stay with the Jew my master, who, God forgive me, is a kind of devil, and if I were to run away from the Jew, I would be taking the advice of the devil, who, please forgive me, Reverend, is the devil himself. However, the Jew is the devil incarnate, and my conscience advises me to make the harder choice if I were to choose to stay with the Jew. The devil offers me the easier choice. I will run away, devil. I'm following your command. I'm going to run away. Now, you know, all of this, which is a real kind of minefield of language, a repetition and sort of ridiculous expression, is really just Launcelot thinking, shall I run away from Shylock or not? And then enter old Gobbo with a basket. And this is a sort of ridiculous, funny moment. So Launcelot, as an aside to the audience, says, oh heavens, this is my true begotten father, who being more than sand blind, high gravel blind, knows me not. I will try confusions with him. So he's sort of saying, look, it's my dad. But he's really blind, so he doesn't recognise me, so I'll play a trick on him. And Gobbo says, Master young gentleman, I pray you, which is the way to master Jews? In other words, you know, young man, excuse me, which way do I go to get to the Jew's house? And Launcelot says, turn up on your right hand at the next turning, but at the next turning of all, on your left. Marry, at the very next turning, turn of no hand, but turn down indirectly to the Jew's house. So go right at the next turning, but at the following turning go left, and at the next crossroads don't go right or left, but turn down the side road to the Jew's house. Gobbo then says, By God's Santies, 'twill be a hard way to hit. Can you tell me whether one Launcelot that dwells with him or not? So by God's saints, that'll be hard to find. Do you know whether Launcelot is still living with him? And Launcelot replies, talk you of young Master Launcelot? So do you mean young Master Launcelot? And as an aside to the audience, mark me now will I raise the waters. Talk you of young Master Launcelot. So he's, again, just for comic effect, he's saying, do you mean young Master Launcelot? And he's saying to the audience, watch this. I'm going to really get him into deep water. And Gobbo says, no, master, sir, but a poor man's son. His father, though I say it, is an honest, exceeding poor man, and God be thanked, well to live. So he's saying, well, no, the Launcelot that I want isn't a master. He's the son of a poor man, his father. And if I say so myself, his father's an honest but very poor man, and thanks be to God, is alive and well. Launcelot says, well, let his father be what he will. We talk of young Master Launcelot. Well, whatever his father is, we are talking about young Master Launcelot. Gobbo says, your worship's friend and Launcelot, sir. So Gobbo's saying, your friend and plain Launcelot, sir. But I pray you, ergo, old man, ergo, I beseech you, talk you of young Master Launcelot. So, again, repetition. But please, I'm asking you, if that's the case, old man, if that is so, I'm seriously asking you, do you mean young Master Launcelot? And Gobbo replies, of Launcelot, and it please your mastership, I'm talking about Launcelot. And Launcelot says, ergo, Master Launcelot, talk not of master. Launcelot, father, for the young gentleman, according to fates and destinies, and such odd sayings the sisters three, and such branches of learning, is indeed deceased, or as you would say in plain terms, gone to heaven. So really, not being very nice to his father here, he's saying, well, you do mean Master Launcelot, but don't talk about him, for he has died and gone to heaven. Gobbo says, marry, God forbid, the boy was the very staff of my age, my very prop. So he's saying, oh, God forbid, he was going to be my support in my old age, someone to lean on. And Launcelot says, do I look like a cudgel or a hovel post, a staff or a prop? Do you know me, father? So he's sort of coming out with it here as saying, do I look like a makeshift walking stick or a weapon or a crutch or a crook? Do you recognize me, father? And Gobbo says, alack the day, I know not, I know you not, young gentleman, but I pray you tell me, is my boy, God rest his soul, alive or dead? So it's all kind of comic misunderstanding of identity, which of course foreshadows the misunderstanding of identity, which will be so important to this play, and will eventually be very comic as well. Gobbo says, oh, heavens above, I don't know who you are, young gentleman, but please tell me, is my boy, God rest his soul, alive or dead? And Launcelot says, do you not know me, father? So he's sort of saying, don't you recognise me, dad? And Gobbo says, alack, sir, I am sand blind. I know you not. So, heavens above, sir, I'm half blind. I don't recognise you. And Launcelot says, nay, indeed, if you had your eyes, you might fail of the knowing me. It is a wise father that knows his own child. Well, old man, I will tell you the news of your son. Give me your blessing. Truth will come to light. Murder cannot be hid long. A man's son may, but at the length truth will out. So he's saying, well, even if you had perfect eyesight, you may fail to recognise me, because it takes a wise father to know his own child. Well, old man, I'll tell you the news of your son. Give me your blessing. The truth will come to light. Murder cannot be hidden for long. A man's son may hide, but in the end, truth will always come out. And Gobbo says, pray you, sir, stand up. I'm sure you are not Lancelot, my boy. So, stand up. I'm sure you're not my son. And Launcelot says, pray you, let's have no more fooling about it, but give me your blessing. I am Launcelot, your boy that was, your son that is, your child that shall be. Nice little speech there. Let's stop messing about. I am your son. I was the boy, and I will always be your child. And Gobbo says, I cannot think you are my son. I can't believe you are my son. Launcelot says, I know not what I shall think of that, but I am Launcelot, the Jew's man, and I am sure Marjorie, your wife, is my mother. So, in other words, well, I don't know what to think of that, but I am Launcelot, the Jew's servant, and I'm sure Marjorie, your wife, is my mother. Gobbo says, her name is Marjorie, indeed, I'll be sworn. If thou be Launcelot, thou art mine own flesh and blood. Lord worshipped might be he be. What a beard hast thou got! Thou hast got more hair on thy chin than Dobbin my fill horse has on his tail. So, her name is indeed Marjorie. I'll swear on the Bible, if you are Launcelot, you are my own flesh and blood. And may the Lord be praised. What a long beard you've got, which suggests he hasn't seen him for a long time. You have more hair on your chin than Dobbin my horse has on his tail. So, we'll stop there, continue in the next video. All a bit sort of ridiculous, these moments. Shakespeare often intersperses serious moments in his plays with moments of kind of humour. And of course, we must remember that this play itself is, very funny. But it's been quite serious for a while, so we're bringing back the comedy, because it is a comedy.